taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it.
It's many moments like that cause many to question President Biden and his mental fitness for office, if it is indeed okay or not. The polling shows as well. We'll point to that in just a bit. Joining us now to discuss is Beverly Hills psychiatrist, bestselling author Carole Lieberman. Carole, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on here. If we have that poll, I'd love to show it. A recent polling here shows, I believe, Morning Consult poll showing here is Joe Biden mentally fit for office. 27% strongly agree, 19% say somewhat, 10% disagree somewhat, 38%. But what you read into this is half the country thinks he's mentally fit, but there's a whole half of this country that thinks otherwise, according to a Morning Consult Politico poll. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that the people are absolutely right to be recognizing it more. I mean, I've been talking about this for over a year, trying to warn people about his what I call encroaching dementia. And this has been getting worse and worse. You know, you gave some great examples, but he has signs, obviously memory loss, disorientation when he stops reading the teleprompter and he's lost and his eyes are vacant. It's like, where am I and what do I do next? A lot of different kinds of examples like that. But the most important is that it doesn't have, and this is an example of dementia, he doesn't have abstract thinking. Now, abstract thinking means it's like when you play chess and you not only think about what's the best move for you, the next move, but what the partner's going to do, your opposition, what you should do after, and so on and so forth. He can't think. He can't hold a whole different scenarios in his mind at the same time. And that's part of the reason for why he gets us involved in things like the horrible pullout in Afghanistan. Why, there are headlines today. Biden keeps ignoring the elephants in the room when he meets with other world leaders, talking about China when he doesn't ask about COVID, the meeting with Canada and Mexico when he doesn't ask about the border. I mean, all of these different things. Another one is China savages Biden, not articulate, poor in verbal expression. I mean, countries, the world is seeing. I mean, it's not only bad in terms of the decisions he's making for our country, but people and the world leaders are realizing that he really has lost it. I hope this physical exam is going to do more than just look at his physical health, but also gives him a cognitive test or tests.
Yeah, and that I don't have the answer to, but I do have the answer that he will undergo a routine colonoscopy. He will be placed under anesthesia, in which his powers will be placed with Vice President Kamala Harris for a brief period of time, we're told, per the White House. Again, that news just breaking now as he undergoes that routine visit there. But I want to point also to, again, we saw the video where he was sleeping there at the climate summit there in Glasgow. In the better part of 20-30 seconds, where it appeared that an aide had to wake him up. Yes, did he travel across various time zones? Would you imagine he's tired? He turns 79 tomorrow. Sure. However, this is the leader of the free world. This is the leader of a superpower. This is the leader of someone who puts climate change really above all priorities within this administration, per the several bills that are passed. Do you see any issue with that?
Well, yes, we can't trust his decision making. And then also the people who are behind him pulling his strings, they're able to do that a lot more easily because he really doesn't have the mental capacity to fight back or to argue back or to consider other options. I think one of the most telling pictures, dramatic ways that this is shown is when the pullout was happening or starting in Afghanistan. And he was nowhere to be found. He was sitting in Delaware with television cameras and presumably, able to talk to people by phone. But it's just that whenever something scary happens, something that he feels he can't handle, he just retreats. And just like during the election when he was in his basement. I mean, this is because he doesn't want people to realize that he really can't think these things through. He also has confabulation. That is when you have memory problems and you realize, that you might not be giving the right answer. And so you make something up and you hope that the people don't realize that you've made something up because you can't really remember what the real answer is. There are things like that. There's volatility, emotional volatility. There are, of course, tripping down the steps. And one thing that many people don't realize or don't remember, this isn't new. His mental problems, when he was in his 40s, he had an operation for an aneurysm. He had a bleed in his brain, and he had an operation for an aneurysm, a cerebral aneurysm. And when they were operating for that, they found a second one. So, and that was in his 40s, and he's on medication for atrial fibrillation. So, there are explanations for this. Not that, there could be a vascular dementia, it could be something else as well, but we have to get him in for cognitive exams to show the truth.
Half of Americans are divided about this, according to recent polling, and his fitness there. We'll continue to monitor that. Carole Lieberman joining us live. Carole, thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Coming up,